The 21st century is often called the Asian century. Two nations stand out in this new era, India and China. Their relationship is complex and multifaceted. It is a rivalry defined by both cooperation and competition. This essay will explore the key dimensions of this rivalry. We will delve into their economic prowess, military capabilities, and geopolitical tensions. This rivalry is not just a regional affair, it has global implications. The world is watching closely as these two giants navigate their differences. The stakes are high, and the outcome will shape the future of Asia and the world. China's economic transformation over the past few decades has been nothing short of remarkable. It has emerged as the world's second-largest economy. Its GDP in 2024 stands at a staggering $18.53 trillion. This economic might has allowed China to project its influence both regionally and globally. China's economic success is a result of various factors. These include a large and increasingly skilled workforce, massive infrastructure investments, and a focus on export-oriented growth. However, China's economy is not without its challenges. It faces issues such as rising debt levels, an aging population, and increasing competition from other developing nations. While China has been the dominant economic force in Asia for several years, India is rapidly catching up. India's economy is projected to be the fastest-growing major economy from 2024 to 2028. Its young population, growing middle class, and increasing technological prowess make it an attractive destination for foreign investment. India's economic growth rate in the last decade has outpaced China's. This surge in growth has led many experts to believe that India has the potential to become a global economic powerhouse in the coming years. However, India also faces challenges such as poverty, inequality, and bureaucratic hurdles that it must overcome to fully realize its economic potential. When it comes to military strength, China holds a clear advantage over India. China's defense budget is several times larger than India's. This allows China to invest heavily in advanced military technologies, including hypersonic missiles, aircraft carriers, and cyber warfare capabilities. China's military modernization has been a key part of its rise as a global power. It has allowed China to assert its territorial claims in the South China Sea and project its military presence further afield. This growing military assertiveness has raised concerns among its neighbors in the United States. Section 5. India's military modernization, closing the gap. India is acutely aware of China's growing military might. In response, India has embarked on an ambitious military modernization program of its own. It has increased its defense spending, signed deals to acquire advanced weaponry from countries like France and the United States, and is focusing on developing its indigenous defense industry. Despite these efforts, India still lags behind China in terms of military capabilities. Closing this gap will require sustained investment, technological innovation, and a clear strategic vision. India's ability to defend its interests in the Indo-Pacific region will depend on the success of its military modernization efforts. Section 6. Geopolitical Flashpoint, the 2020 Galwan Valley Clash. The rivalry between India and China is not just limited to the economic and military spheres, it extends far beyond, touching various aspects of their national interests and regional influence. Both nations have been rapidly growing their economies and modernizing their militaries, which has only intensified their competition. This rivalry also plays out in the geopolitical arena, where both countries vie for influence and strategic advantage. Their interactions on the global stage, whether in international organizations or bilateral meetings, often reflect their underlying tensions and competing ambitions. The two countries share a long and disputed border, stretching over 3,488 kilometers, which has been the site of numerous clashes over the years. This border, known as the Line of Actual Control, LAC, is poorly demarcated, leading to frequent misunderstandings and confrontations. The most serious of these clashes in recent times occurred in the Galwan Valley in 2020. This remote and rugged area became the focal point of a violent confrontation that resulted in the loss of lives on both sides, marking the first deadly clash between the two nations in over 4 decades. The Galwan Valley clash resulted in casualties on both sides and marked a significant escalation in tensions between the two countries. The incident not only led to a tragic loss of life, but also heightened nationalistic sentiments and calls for stronger military postures in both India and China. While both sides have taken steps to de-escalate the situation, including high-level diplomatic talks and military disengagements, the border dispute remains a major point of contention. The Galwan Valley clash serves as a stark reminder of the fragile peace and the potential for future conflict in this volatile region. Section 7. The Indian Ocean, a maritime arena of competition. The Indian Ocean has become a key arena of competition between India and China. This vast body of water stretching from the eastern coast of Africa to the western shores of Australia is not just a geographical expanse, but a strategic chessboard where the two Asian giants are vying for influence and control. China has been increasing its naval presence in the region as part of its String of Pearls strategy. This strategy is aimed at securing China's maritime interests by establishing a series of ports and bases along key sea lanes, which are crucial for its energy supplies and trade routes. This strategy involves establishing a network of ports and military bases in countries surrounding India, raising concerns in New Delhi about encirclement. Countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar have seen significant Chinese investments in their port infrastructure, which many analysts view as dual-use facilities that could serve both commercial and military purposes. India, on the other hand, views the Indian Ocean as its backyard and is determined to protect its interests in the region. The Indian Navy has been modernizing its fleet, acquiring new submarines, aircraft carriers, and advanced surveillance systems to ensure it can maintain a dominant presence in these waters. It has been strengthening its naval capabilities, forging partnerships with other countries in the region, and promoting the concept of a free and open Indo-Pacific as a counter to China's growing influence. Joint naval exercises with nations like the United States, Japan, and Australia are part of this strategy, showcasing India's commitment to regional security and cooperation. The Indian Ocean thus remains a critical theater where the balance of power in Asia is being contested and shaped. Section 8. The Global South BRICS and the Quest for Influence. Beyond the Indo-Pacific, India and China are also competing for influence in the Global South. This competition is not just limited to economic or military might, but extends to diplomatic and cultural influence as well. Both nations are investing heavily in infrastructure projects, educational exchanges, and cultural diplomacy to win the hearts and minds of countries in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Both countries are members of BRICS, a grouping of major emerging economies that also includes Brazil, Russia, and South Africa. This coalition aims to create a multipolar world where no single country or bloc dominates. The BRICS nations collectively represent over 40% of the world's population and nearly a quarter of global GDP, making them a formidable force on the international stage. BRICS is seen as a platform for these countries to challenge the dominance of the West in global governance. Through initiatives like the New Development Bank and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement, BRICS aims to provide alternative financial mechanisms to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which are often seen as instruments of Western influence. However, there are divisions within BRICS, particularly between India and China. These two nations have a long history of border disputes and geopolitical rivalry, which sometimes spills over into the BRICS forum. While they share common goals, their methods and visions for achieving these goals often differ, leading to friction within the group. China has been pushing for the expansion of BRICS, and sees the grouping as a way to build a coalition of countries opposed to the United States. Beijing envisions a larger BRICS that includes countries like Indonesia, Turkey, and Nigeria, thereby increasing its own influence within the group and on the global stage. India, on the other hand, is wary of China's dominance within BRICS, and is keen to ensure that the grouping does not become a vehicle for Chinese expansionism. New Delhi advocates for a more balanced approach, emphasizing the need for equal partnership and mutual respect among BRICS members. India is also focused on leveraging BRICS to address issues like terrorism, climate change, and sustainable development, which are of paramount importance to its national interests. Section 9. Conclusion. A rivalry with global implications. The rivalry between India and China is one of the defining features of the 21st century international system. It is a complex and multifaceted rivalry, encompassing economic competition, military tensions, and geopolitical maneuvering. The outcome of this rivalry will have profound implications for the future of Asia and the world. While competition between India and China is inevitable, it is essential that both countries manage their rivalry responsibly. This means avoiding conflict, engaging in dialogue, and seeking areas of cooperation. The world cannot afford a conflict between these two giants. A stable and prosperous Asia requires India and China to find a way to coexist peacefully and productively.